UFC Fight Night, Lewis versus Spivak. Full card prediction, we got Derek Lewis, the Black Beast, taking on Sergey Spivak in the heavyweight division. We got a lot of big boys on this card, especially at the top, with Canadians Shuku Iwan Kutalaba at 205, Waldo Cortez Acosta and Chase Sherman at 265, Muslim Salikov, Andre Fialio, Cody Brandon, Chodolfo Vieira, Jack Della Maddalena, and Danny Roberts, and some good fights on the prelims as well. Cancellations are light heavyweights William Knight, Marcin Prachnio, and bantamweights Jose Johnson, Vince Morales, and Kyler Phillips, and Jack Shore. Overall, still a pretty decent card. We're going to give you my predictions and my thoughts for UFC Fight Night, Lewis versus Spivak. If you're new to the channel, come on, subscribe. We got these predictions coming at you every single week. Comment your predictions down below in, the comment section. Check the description for my bets. With all that being said, let's get into the first fight of the night. If it can go, Natalia Silva and Teresa Bleda. In the flyweight division, Teresa Bleda, 21 years old. By the end of 2022, she's 5'9", very tall, very, very lengthy. In this flyweight division, very good wrestler, very good grappler, likes to take the fight down, control it there, and ground and pound. Coming off a ground and pound TKO win on Mabeli Lima right there, an armbar, a rear naked, another ground and pound TKO win as an amateur, went 8-0, beating Lucy Pudilova, who, guess what, is coming off a very good win inside the UFC in which she went out there and beat Yenon Wu by TKO in round number 2. And guess what? This girl, that's a flyweight, Teresa Bleda, was able to go out there and destroy Lucy Pudilova and win a unanimous decision. She's only 20 years old, which makes it so much even more crazy for Teresa Bleda. But fighting a girl like Natalia Silva is not going to be easy. Natalia Silva 1-0 in the UFC, only losing to Marina Rodriguez recently, who's a top 5 women's flyweight in the world. Very good grappler, armbars over and over and over, submissions over and over and over. Out of all of her wins, half of them are coming by submission right there, a few of them by TKO, and only 2 going all the way to a decision. But I do believe this one will go to a decision. Betting odds are saying the fight's probably going to go to a decision. I would have to agree. Right here, Silva by decision, that is going to be my prediction. I think Natalia Silva is going to go out there, pressure forward on Teresa Bleda, defend the takedowns. I think we're going to see some good scrambles in the jiu-jitsu and the wrestling and things like that. Going to be pretty even on the ground, slight edge to Teresa Bleda, but on the feet, Natalia Silva is going to have more power, she's going to have more speed, able to land the more effective shots onto Teresa Bleda, and I do believe she'll win 2 out of 3 rounds in the striking on Teresa Bleda, and then the wrestling and grappling will be very, very even, giving a very, very slight win to Natalia Silva here, 29-28 on the judges' scorecards. Fernie Garcia and Brady Houston in the bantamweight division, 23 and 30 years old. Taller and lengthier is Brady Houston. The better wrestler, the better grappler is Brady Houston, with the better striker being Fernie Garcia. Fernie, very solid boxer. He's got good volume early on in the fight. He's got some pretty decent striking. Later on in the fight, he tends to gas out just a little bit. And that is actually where I'm not actually going to go out there and say Brady's going to land those takedowns early on. I think if Brady's going to have some success here with the wrestling and grappling, I think it's going to be a little bit later into round number 2, round number 3. Round 1, Fernie's going to do very, very well, and I believe win round number 1, outstriking Brady Houston, landing the harder shots. But Brady's going to use that round as a feeling out process to gas out Fernie a little bit, and in round number 2, round number 3, that's where I believe Brady's going to start to mix in that pressure, come forward on Fernie Garcia, start to land his combinations on the feet, start to mix in those takedowns to control Fernie on the ground, attempt some submissions, attempt some ground and pound, and that's where I think Brady Houston is going to win round 2 and round 3 and get the unanimous decision. Maria Oliveira and Vanessa Demopoulos in the strawweight division, Maria Oliveira, 25, almost 26 years old, a lot younger, a lot taller, a lot lengthier, pretty good get-up game. Going out there in her UFC debut against a I'm just kidding, not a very good wrestler and grappler, good ground and pound and things like that. Very good at controlling the fight on the ground in Tabatahichi. Then she ended up fighting Gloria De Paula, who was able to mix in some takedowns, but Maria was able to get right up on a lot of those takedowns and use her height, use her reach to stay at range and, for the most part, outstrike Gloria De Paula. Vanessa Demopoulos is a pretty decent striker, I would say. Pretty good in the clinch. Good submission game as well, submitting Silvana Gomez Juarez. And mixing in some takedowns and things like that on Jin Yu Frey. But I do believe Maria Oliveira will be able to defend most of the takedowns of Vanessa Demopoulos and keep this one on the feet. One of the closest fights in the card. Do not be surprised if Maria Oliveira is the underdog by the UFC Fight Night, because right now it's looking like a -110 fight. On most of the betting odds, I do lean Maria Oliveira to win. I think she'll get up on a lot of the takedowns of Vanessa Demopoulos and land more volume at range on Vanessa. Vanessa's a pretty tough one. Didn't get finished by Lupita Godinez, didn't get finished by JJ Aldrich. I think if there's going to be a finish, it would be Vanessa Demopoulos, but I think the fight goes all the way. Maria outstrikes Vanessa on the feet, using the height, using the reach, and wins the decision. Ricky Tercios and Kevin Natividad in the bantamweight division. Ricky Tercios, I'm going to go out right now and say it, he's taller, he's lengthier, they are the same age. Kevin Natividad is 0-2 in the UFC, getting knocked out twice in a row. Doesn't have the best chin in the UFC's bantamweight division. I think the UFC wants Ricky Tercios to win this fight. He beat Daniel Argueta right there. Very, very good win. Considering Daniel Argueta has gone on to have a very, very close fight with Damon Jackson since then. Was able to beat Randy Montala, Myron Santos, and Diego Silva since then. I mean, that win has definitely aged very, very well. Beat Lidovik Shalinyan and Brady Heastan, all of which were decisions. But Lidovik, very tough guy. Brady Heastan, super tough guy. Daniel Argueta, all of these three guys can definitely take some damage on the feet. So I don't really necessarily believe that this fight right here with Ricky Tercios and Kevin Natividad is 100% going to go to a decision. Just because Ricky's got so many decision wins on his MMA record, I actually think this one's going to be a finish. I think Kevin is going to go out there, start to pressure, try to land some big shots on the feet in round number 1, and Ricky's really going to start to pick up the pace so we can get the finish in the later rounds. I think round 1, Kevin Natividad might win. Round number 2, Kevin's going to start to slow down a little bit. Ricky's pressure and his volume, mixing in the takedown, some elbows, some good knees in the clinch, pressure. He's really going to start to shine through on the Kevin Natividad. He's going to win round number 2 pretty decisively. In round 3, that's where Kevin Natividad is really going to break. And that's where Ricky Tercios is really going to start to pour on the pressure. In my opinion, you have to land those big shots on the ground, attempt some submissions, and he's going to land something good on the feet. Ground and pound Kevin Natividad for a 3rd round TKO victory. Ricky Tercios getting his first TKO win and his first finish in the UFC. I got Ricky by TKO. Miles Johns and Vince Morales in the bantamweight division. Short notice, indeed, as Vince Morales was originally supposed to be fighting against Jose Johnson. I would have had Jose Johnson winning, but this definitely is a little bit of a closer fight. Same height, same reach, similar in age, really doesn't matter too much, and pretty similar in experience as well. Vince Morales, I would say, is going to be the better striker here. Was able to outstrike Draco Rodriguez for the most part in their fight, only losing to Chris Gutierrez, who's one of the best strikers in the bantamweight division right now. Jonathan Martinez, another one of the best strikers in the bantamweight division right now. Miles, not one of the best strikers, but he does have some significant power, knocking out Kevin Natividad and Anderson Dos Santos. I do believe if Vince Morales is going to win, he's going to have to play this striking game and out volume, pick apart Miles Johns on the outside, outstrike him for 3 straight rounds and win a decision. And Miles Johns is going to win. He's going to have to close the distance and land big shots. Going to have to be like Marlon Vera versus Round 5, where Vince might be landing a little bit more volume, might slightly be the better striker, but Miles Johns needs to land something big every now and then. Then follow it up with a few takedowns here and there as well, and that would be the game plan of Miles Johns, in my opinion, and that's what I think he's gonna do. I think he's gonna land the big shots on the feet. Vince is gonna land a little bit more volume. The judges are gonna be like, I don't know who to give this round to, and then boom, a good takedown, little bit of ground and pound, maybe a submission attempt to seal the deal for Miles Johns. I think he uses that to get himself a unanimous decision. Marina Moroz and Jennifer Maia in the flyweight division. This should be in Brazil, if I'm being quite honest with you. It might be. If Jennifer Maia wins this fight or something, she might just get rescheduled for another fight at UFC 283. But this is a good one. 34 and 31 years old. Marina is taller. She is lengthier. She is younger. Not as experienced as Jennifer Maia, but doing very good recently, beating Sabina Mazo, Mayra Bueno Silva, and Maria Agapova, only losing a former champion, Carla Esparza, and Angela Hill. Her wrestling and grappling looked very, very good in her last fight. Striking also looked pretty even, in my opinion, so this one's going to be really, really tough to call. I would say if you're betting on it, I'm going to give you an early sneak peek to the betting breakdown. If you're going to bet on this fight between the women Marina Moroz and Jennifer Maia, only thing I would do would be a sprinkle on Jennifer Maia by decision at plus 200 once those odds come out, because Maia by decision is going to be 2-1. Marina Moroz by decision is going to be 1-1. You're not going to get much value there, and I do believe it's going to be a split decision victory for Marina Moroz. Gonna be one that could go either way, depending on how you look at it. Because Marina, I do believe, is gonna be slightly better when it comes to the takedown, controlling on the ground and pound, and things like that. But Jennifer, I would say, is gonna be a little bit better when it comes to the submission game. And then the striking is gonna be very, very even. And if Jennifer is able to do a few key big things on the feet, she can easily win this fight in the striking, and the grappling could be very even. And some of these judges could give it to Jennifer Maia. So I think this is going to be one of the closest fights on this UFC Fight Night. Lewis versus Spivak. The striking going to be very, very 50-50. But what's going to seal the deal is going to be the superior wrestling and a little bit of ground and pound from Marina Moroz right here. One of the closest fights on the card. I'm going to go Marina Moroz 29-28, 28-29, and 29-28 split decision. Zhalgas Zhumagula versus Charles Johnson in the flyweight division. I feel pretty good about this one, weirdly. Even though, a guy like Zhalgas Zhumagula, I just saw Halion Paiva right here, even though he's a super, super live underdog to go out there, take down Charles Johnson and out-wrestle him and control him on the ground, even put on heavy, heavy pressure, beat him in the clinch as well. I mean, Zhalgas Zhumagulov is a super, super duper live dog. I mean, the Halion Paiva fight was a 50-50 one. That one could have gone either way. The Jeff Molina one was a 50-50 fight. That one could have gone either way. So a Charles Johnson fight, you might be thinking, why am I feeling so good about Charles Johnson when he came off a split decision on Jeff Molina, a top 15 flyweight fighter in the world? Well, the reason being is Charles is so much taller, so much lengthier than Zhalgas Zhumagulov, and he's pretty good at getting out of the clinch situations. Unless he's fighting a guy like freaking Mohamed Mokaev, who's able to get that clinch and get the back of Charles Johnson. Zhalgas isn't the guy to get the back of his opponents. He's the guy to get the fight in the clinch, grind there, land some knees, land some elbows, some shots to the body, grind. Not really the guy to go for a finish there, get the back and look for a submission. And that's where I think Charles is going to have some success, as Zhalgas isn't really going out there for the intent of getting the back of Charles, so that's not going to be too much of an issue. For Charles Johnson, he's going to land some knees in the clinch, get right out of the clinch, and he's going to be the better striker at range. So I feel weirdly good about this fight, but I believe Charles' get-up game here will be good. I believe he'll have good takedown defense, get out of those clinching situations from Zhalgas Zhumagulov, and make this a 3-round striking fight. Charles does have some pretty good power, was able to knock out Carlos Mota, was able to knock out Camilo right there, and is able to submit Carly Pangolian, who was an undefeated guy at the time. But I think this fight goes all the way. If Jeff Molina is not able to knock him out, I don't think he's going to be able to, so I'm going to go Charles Johnson to outstrike Zhalgas Zhumagulov and win this one by a decision. Jack Della Maddalena and Danny Roberts in the welterweight division. You already know. Jack Della Maddalena KO TKO. Round number 1, round number 2. Similar height, similar reach right there, but he is about 11 years younger than Danny Roberts. He's going to knock out Danny Roberts early on in this fight, like Michel Pereira did, like Francisco Trinaldo was almost able to do, and he's going to TKO him early on in this fight and get rescheduled immediately for UFC 284 against, I don't know, let's check the freaking welterweight rankings. Who are we going to give? Jack Della Maddalena. Let's give him Chaos Williams for UFC 284. Let's give him Daniel Rodriguez for UFC 284. There's a lot of good matchups, but speaking of this one, Danny Roberts is not good, man. The chin of Danny Roberts really is not that good. He's pretty tall, pretty lengthy, good at staying at range and picking his opponents apart on the outside and winning the fight that way. Sure, he was able to do that on Ramazan Emeev. Robbery. He was able to do that, stay at range and knock out Zalimi Matayev, but Jack isn't going to stay at range. Jack isn't going to let Danny Roberts jab him and 1-2 him at range, leg kicking him and body kicking him at range. He's not going to let him do any of that. In this fight, Jack Della Maddalena is going to close that distance, get Danny Roberts back to that cage, and he is going to throw hook after a hook after a hook, and he's going to knock out Danny Roberts. Yes, Jack Della Maddalena's nose might be a little bit cracked even after like the first jab of Danny Roberts, but it's cracked up after almost every single fight. So not to worry, Jack will get hurt a little bit. I mean, his nose will get hurt, not him per se, but he's going to get Danny Roberts back to the chin, back to the cage in round number 2 after gassing out Danny Roberts in a banger of a round number 1 and TKOing him on the feet. A little bit of ground and pound in round number 2. I'm calling this pure and utter domination from Jack Della Maddalena. Cody Brundage and Rodolfo Vieira. In the middleweight division, Cody Brundage going out there and beating Joseph Kropschat, losing to Nick Maximov in his UFC debut, also losing to William Knight by TKO, but beating Dolce Lungambola in a come-from-behind victory. I mean, he was losing that fight, and then he came back and submitted him in a crazy come-from-behind win. Then he went out and starched Tresean Gore in round number 1, and he has power, and he's a very strong, very good wrestler. Rodolfo Vieira, better jiu-jitsu guy and a slightly better kickboxer. So I believe this is going to be a 50-50. Again, if you're betting this one, do not bet the favor. It is a dog or pass when it comes to Rodolfo Vieira and Cody Brundage. Minus 135, I might have considered putting a little bit of money on Rodolfo Vieira, but right now it is dog or pass. Rodolfo is better when it comes to jiu-jitsu. He's really good at getting the back of his opponents and submitting them. Arm triangle is one of his main weapons. Only losing a really good cardio king in his middleweight division and Anthony Fluffy Hernandez, and a really good takedown defense, Chris Curtis. But Chris Curtis had better striking and he had good takedown defense. Cody Brundage has good takedown defense as he is a good wrestler, which is why I do believe this is going to be a 3-round striking fight. But is Cody Brundage the better striker? No. I do believe Rodolfo Vieira is going to be the better kickboxer, going to be landing more volume on Cody Brundage, better kicks, better jabs, 1-2s, and things like that. It comes down to can Rodolfo Vieira land that volume without getting caught by the power that is Cody Brundage. Because Cody Brundage has huge power in his hands to easily go out there and TKO Rodolfo Vieira. If he's able to catch that chin of Rodolfo Vieira and of anyone in this middleweight division, he can knock out almost anyone in this division. So I do have Rodolfo Vieira winning by a unanimous decision, but Cody is live to catch that chin of Rodolfo Vieira. I believe this is going to be 3 rounds of strike and a few takedown attempts here and there from Rodolfo Vieira, maybe some clinching and Rodolfo trying to get the back of Cody Brundage, but overall, mainly a striking bout, Rodolfo by decision. Andre Fialho and Muslim Salikov in the welterweight division, another very close one in this welterweight division. Muslim a slight underdog here on Bet Online. Andre Fialho at 28 years old, beating Cameron Van Camp by knockout, Miguel Baeza by knockout, Stefan Sekulic by knockout as well, only losing decision to Michel Pereira and a KO to Jake Matthews. He's very young at 28 years old, taller and lengthier than Muslim Muslim Salikov. Muslim going out there beating Francisco Trinaldo, Elizu Zaleski, Lorenos Terapoli, and Nordin Taleb. A lot of very solid guys in the welterweight division. A lot of them earlier on with a TKO and only losing to Jingliang Li, I believe, in round number 2. I believe Muslim Salikov wins round 1. He's going to mix in some takedowns there, land some good spinning back kicks to the body like he usually does, land some big shots, and he's going to rock Andre Fialho. Now, don't get me wrong. There's a huge shot that Muslim Salikov goes out there and then he knocks out Andre Fialho. Round number 1, Andre's chin got destroyed in his last fight against Muslim, and he got rocked against Cameron Van Camp as well. So there's a good chance Andre could get knocked out round number 1, and this prediction could look absolutely horrible. But I think Andre Fialho comes back in round number 2, slightly, barely outstrikes Muslim Salikov in round number 2, and in round number 3, Muslim Salikov is going to be very, very tired, and that's where Andre really going to start to land some good shots and also win round number 3, outstriking Muslim Salikov. So as hard as it is to say, I know a lot of you guys are like, no, Andre Fialho by KO TKO, that's the only way. I don't think so. I think the fight goes all the way. I'm going to go the plus 105 underdog, Andre Fialho, to win this one by a unanimous decision. Chase Sherman and Waldo Cortez Acosta in the heavyweight division. Waldo fighting a week ago, like not even being wrong here. He fought a week ago against Jared Vanderaa, was able to win by unanimous decision, and is coming back 2 weeks later to fight Chase Sherman after his leg got absolutely destroyed in the Jared Vanderaa fight. He's coming right back, and he's 31 years old, same height, same reach, better striker than Chase Sherman. He's bigger than Chase Sherman. He's got good takedown defense, and you already know what this is going to be. A 3-round striking fight. Chase Sherman, he's got okay leg kicks, but not as good as freaking Jared Vanderaa, which leads me to believe this is going to be 3 rounds of just straight up boxing. Not really any kicking here. Few kicks here and there from both guys. A few leg kicks here and there from both guys. But mainly, this is going to be a boxing bout from Waldo Cortez Acosta and Chase Sherman. And one that I do think goes all the way. Jake Collier is going out there submitting him. Alexander Romanov is going out there and submitting him. Cool. He's knocking out Jared Vanderaa. Very, very nice. But he did end up losing a decision to Parker Porter, a decision to Andrei Arlovsky, and I do believe Waldo has the power to TKO Chase Sherman here. I don't think he's going to. I really don't think he's going to. Chase Sherman, I believe, is going to survive to the final bell, rock Waldo Cortez Acosta in round number 2, give some adversity to Waldo Cortez Acosta in round number 2, but Waldo's just going to land a heck of a lot more volume, the jab, the 1-2s on the feet. He's going to win round 1 and round number 3. Waldo Cortez Acosta with a 29-28 decision. Iwan Cutelaba and Kennedy Nzechukwu in the light heavyweight division, 28 years old and 30 years old in the light heavyweight division. Kennedy beating Carlos Ulberg, beating Danilo Marquez. Carl Roberson in the light heavyweight division, losing to Dawoon Jung as well as Nicole Negamarianu. That was a robbery. But he's taller, he's lengthier than Iwan Cutelaba. He's the better striker. And as we saw in the Carl Roberson fight, it was Kennedy Nzechukwu. I don't know what I'm saying right now, but you can kind of get the gist. Kennedy looked like an African wrestler, not an African savage. Taking on Carl Roberson, his wrestling and his grappling and his ground and pound, his control. It all looked very, very good. And for Iwan Cutelaba, he's got to be scared coming into a matchup like this, getting submitted in his last 2 fights, beating Devin Clark right there, mainly because he was able to land that takedown and start ground and pounding the heck out of Devin Clark, getting a close fight with Dustin Jacoby because he landed the takedown and was able to ground and pound the heck out of Dustin Jacoby. That's the only reason he's winning and getting close on these fights. I don't believe he's going to go out there and dominate Kennedy Nzechukwu on the ground. I believe this is going to stay on the feet, and Kennedy Nzechukwu is going to go out there, catch Iwan Cutelaba on the feet, and ground and pound him a bit on the ground as well. Don't think this one goes all the way. Very unlikely that an Iwan Cutelaba Kennedy Nzechukwu fight is going to go the full 3 rounds. I mean, talk about crazy. If this one goes all the way, That is just going to be absolutely insane. So I do have Kennedy and Nzechukwu plus 120 inside the distance to get a ground and pound TKO, which is going to be plus 165. Good fight in the light heavyweight division, either an E1 early round one knockout, or E1 goes for that early round one knockout, and Kennedy is able to do what he did with Carlos Ulberg and TKO him in the later rounds. That's kind of what I think. Kennedy in second or third round by TKO. Derek the Black Beast Lewis and Sergey Spivak. In the heavyweight division, Sergey Spivak, 27 and a half years old. They're both 6'3", pretty similar in reach. The age, yeah. Sergey is about 10 years younger than Derek Lewis right there. Not as experienced. Obviously, Derek is 10 years older than Sergey Spivak, and he has 2 times the amount of fights as Sergey Spivak, but you already know. I know Taito Iwasa didn't go out there and wrestle Derek Lewis, didn't go out there and destroy Derek on the ground. I know Taito Iwasa, Sergey, and Cyril Gane, they weren't going out there and grappling and wrestling with Derek Lewis. They weren't dominating him on the ground or anything like that. Usually, if he's losing, it's with the speed and the things like that of the other opponent, like Cyril Gane, like Taito Iwasa, like Sergey Pavlovich. They're all able to get inside and crack Derek Lewis on the feet. But this is a different type of a matchup, because all the guys that he's losing to and the guys that he's beating, none of them are going out there trying to take him down. I mean, yeah, Curtis Blaze, and he was able to land that uppercut, but if Sergey Spivak is able to stay away from that one uppercut of Derek Lewis right here, he should be able to win this one. I mean, he should be able to stay at range on Derek Lewis, make it a very technical striking bout. Throw a jab, feint the takedown, have Derek try to defend that takedown, get the fight close, clinch up with Derek Lewis, and work trips. Not gonna want to come in for a double leg, not gonna want to come in for a single leg. Anything like that. That's not the game plan of Sergey. We saw what happened with Curtis Blades. We do not want Sergey Spivak going for any takedowns on the outside coming in. He has to go in there, fake some shots, do some feints, come in, get Derek Lewis to bite, then come in, get the fight to the clinch, get the fight, get the body lock, and look to get Derek off the cage, get him off balance, trip him down, get into that half guard position, ground and freaking pound. And that's what I think is going to happen. I do not believe Sergey's going to look for this submission. I think he's going to do what he did with Greg Hardy, what he did with Augusto Sakai, what he did with Jared Vanderaa, what he was doing with Alexei Olenek. He's going to take this fight down and ground and pound. I think round one mainly is going to be a striking round. Derek might win the round because he lands something big. Sergey might win the round because he's landing a little bit more volume. Round two, Sergey's going to find his range, figure out to find that timing, and he's going to land the takedown towards the end of round number two. Round number three, he's going to figure out that time. He's going to get the takedown easily in round number three, and that is where Sergey Spivak really is going to start to freaking ground and pound, elbow, and cut up Derek Lewis in round number three. And that's where Sergey Spivak is going to TKO Derek Lewis in midway through this fight. Right before championship rounds, I think Sergey will get that trip takedown in round number three and ground and pound TKO the former title challenger in Derek Lewis. Good fight though, Sergey Spivak and Derek Lewis. I got Sergey winning round one, winning round two, and TKOing Derek Lewis in round number three. That is it for today's full card predictions. UFC Fight Night Lewis versus Spivak. 13 fights on the entire card. I got Natalia Silva, Brady Hiestand, slight underdog on some bookies, slight favorite on others, Maria Oliveira, Ricky Tercios, Miles Johns, although that's a 50-50, Marina Moroz, although that's a 50-50, Charles Johnson, Jack Della Maddalena, Rodolfo Vieira, although that's a 50-50, underdog Andre Fialio, Waldo Cortez Acosta, Kennedy Nzechukwu, and Sergey Spivak. Those are the full card predictions. Like and subscribe. Put your predictions down below. Like this video. Comment your predictions as well. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you in the next one. UFC Fight Night Lewis versus Spivak. Full card betting breakdown. We're going to look at every fight on the prelims, every fight on the main card and look at the money line on all of those fights, the props on every single one of those fights, and if their money line is worth being parlayed. There's some people on here like Jack Della Maddalena that you will see is going to be a main component for a lot of parlays this weekend, as he is definitely one of my more confident picks for this UFC fight card. So we're going to do the UFC Fight Night betting breakdown and the best bets to make for UFC Fight Night Lewis versus Spivak. If you want the actual official bets that I'm going to be making, not just the tips and tricks that I'm going to be giving you in this video, check the link down below in the description. But with all that being said, let's check the first fight of the night. We got Natalia Silva and Teresa Bleda in the flyweight division. Right now, I have Natalia Silva winning by decision. If you want to go check out the actual prediction, you can definitely go look it up on YouTube. But based off of the bets, yes, I do have Natalia Silva by decision. But minus 160, I'm not doing anything with that. I'm not going to parlay Natalia Silva. I'm not going to money line Natalia Silva or anything like that. I'm not doing any of that with Natalia Silva. And the fight to go to a decision minus 200, there's not enough value on that one as well. So we're going to have to look a little bit lower here. Silva by decision is at plus 150 right there on a bet online. Also has some good value, but the thing that's going to have the most value right here, not going to be plus 185 on Bleda by decision, which is what it should be, but it's going to be if you can get it. If your bookie does have these odds at plus 250, plus 240 for today's Bleda by decision, that is where the value is at. I believe Natalia Silva wins a 29-28, very close decision, but if you're going to be betting this fight, the best thing to do is that plus 250 on Bet365 if you're on there. If you're not, you're going to have to wait for a little bit later on in the week for a few of the other betting odds sites to get their odds out, but right now, plus 250, there is value on Teresa Bleda by a decision. Second fight of the night right here, we are going to have Fernie Garcia and Brady Heaston. For this one, I'm going to have to say Heaston scorecards no action is going to definitely have some value. I don't like the money line too much. At minus 155, I feel better about a few of the other fighters on this UFC Fight Night that are around minus 155 as well. So I'd rather just bet those fighters instead of risking it on a guy I'm not as confident in. Heaston inside the distance. Again, not the most value there. I'd rather do the inside the distance scorecards and no action. Decision prop, what are you going to get on that? Heaston by decision, plus 163. Not enough in my opinion. The only thing would be an inside the distance scorecards, no action for Brady Heaston. Next one is going to be a Maria Oliveira taking on Vanessa Demopoulos. This one is definitely going to be a close one in the women's flyweight. The women's isn't the flyweight division. Yeah, the strawweight division. I'm sorry about that one, but for this one, if you can get that, I mean, if you're able to get something like that, Demopoulos inside the distance, there is heavy value on Demopoulos to win inside the distance. She's got a good armbar. She's got good ground and pound. She's got some pretty decent striking as well. So that plus 275 on Demopoulos definitely is going to have a lot of value. Another one of them, if you want to parlay this one, this could be good. Demopoulos scorecards, no action. I don't remember the last time Maria Oliveira has gotten a finish over a good fighter. A 0-0 first round knockout. A 0-6 second round knockout. A 1-1 second round knockout. 0-1 first round knockout. She's knocking out and submitting scrubs right here. Absolutely scrubs in the UFC and outside of the UFC. And she's getting finished a lot. Armbar by Kana Asakura. Marina Rodriguez got knocked out there. Lost to Anne Ferreira. I do believe if there's going to be a finish, it'll be Vanessa Demopoulos. Only things, maybe do a little bit of a parlay with Demopoulos scorecards, no action. Or you sprinkle. Very small sprinkle on Demopoulos inside the distance. Next one, Miles Johns and Vince Morales. This one might be a pass. I don't like the money line. I don't like the underdog bet or anything like that. Goes to a decision, minus 138. Johns by decision, plus 240. That's decent. I'm going to be honest. Plus 240 is pretty decent. Yeah, that'd be it. It's literally the plus 240 Johns by decision, or just don't bet the fight at all. That's what I think is going to happen. There's a little bit of value there, but not a huge amount of value. So I would say just pass on the fight, but if you have to bet on something for this one, it would be the Johns by decision, because that's the only thing I see having just a little bit of value on this UFC fight card. Other than that, I'm really not liking too much for that fight. Kevin Natividad and Ricky Tercios. I'm actually liking a Tercios finish. Tercios by TKO right there at plus 550, or a Tercios inside the distance at plus 300. I actually think that Ricky Tercios is going to be able to get the finish, so plus 300 is definitely going to have a lot of value. Not going to do any scorecards, no action. A little bit of a sprinkle on the inside of the distance. That would be about it. And possibly a parlay Ricky with a guy like Jack Della Maddalena to get some plus money. That'd be about it. Marina Moreau, Jennifer Maia. We already talked about it in the prediction video, but only thing, plus 220 Maia by decision. That is it. Plus 220 Maia by decision, or if you're on Bet Online where you can do the plus 3.5 rounds. If you don't know what it is, it's where if Marina Moreau wins a 29-28 decision on all judges' scorecards, you still win the bet. If you bet Jennifer Maia, plus 3.5 points on the judges' scorecards, and she loses 29-28, she will still win the fight. So it's either that plus 220 by decision for Jennifer Maia, or Jennifer Maia plus 3.5 point spread on Bet Online. Whatever odds that is going to be, that's about it for that one. We got Zhalga Zhumagulov and Charles Johnson. I do believe the fight will go all the way. The money line is decent for Charles Johnson. I would say that's a pretty okay money line. In my opinion, I wouldn't really risk too much on a decision or an inside the distance. I can definitely see him catching Zhalgas in a submission. Zhalgas' chin is a little bit iffy as well. So, yeah, I would say money line or pass here. Maybe sprinkle on the decision for Charles Johnson, but mainly just money line or pass for Charles Johnson. Jack Della Maddalena, I would say for this one, you're not getting much value on Maddalena KO. So for this one, it's just a parlay piece. I don't want to do anything with the prop bets or anything like that. No. I'm not going to do anything with that. I'm going to actually do just a crazy coincidental type of bet right here in Maddalena's second round TKO at plus 350. That's my prediction. That's what I think is going to happen. I will be sprinkling an ever so small amount on that one right there. The other one I'm going to be doing is obviously parlaying Jack Della Maddalena in a few of my parlays, but that'd be about it. He is the parlay piece of the card. Andre Fialio, he was my underdog of the card originally. He was very good plus money, plus 130, plus 155 at one point. It was obviously an underdog or pass type of a fight. Now, fight goes to a decision is at plus 130. I actually think the fight goes to a decision, and I have Fialio winning, so plus 500. No brainer. That's the only thing I would do. Hodolfo and Cody is canceled, so you really can't do much there. Kennedy Nzechukwu and Iwan Cutelaba. I know a lot of you guys are going to want to do the Kennedy Nzechukwu by TKO right there, but sprinkle on Nzechukwu by submission. Sprinkle on Nzechukwu just a little bit by submission. I think he's going to get the knockout. I think he's going to go out there and TKO Iwan Cutelaba. But just sprinkle a little bit, just a little bit on Nzechukwu by submission, because there is heck of a lot of value for Iwan Cutelaba to have been submitted 2 times in a row in the UFC's light heavyweight division by Johnny Walker, a striker in his most recent fight. Kennedy showing really good wrestling recent. If he's able to rock Iwan, there's a good chance he just goes for the rear naked choke submission. So there is value on Kennedy by submission. Probably about all I would do. Maybe parlay Kennedy with Jack Della Maddalena and your confident picks from Bellator over here as well to get some plus money, but submission has a lot of value. Then we got, we forgot to do Waldo versus Chase Sherman. This one's simple. It's just going to be Waldo by decision at plus 550. Has a lot of value in my opinion. And then the main event, Sergey Spivak and Derek Lewis right here. I'm going to be doing for this fight, honestly, under 3.5 rounds makes a lot of sense in my opinion, minus 400. I highly doubt this one gets into championship rounds, and if it does, Sergey's probably going to TKO with the gas Derek Lewis at that point, or Derek just catches him early on, so that under 3.5 could be a parlay piece right there that does not start round 4, could also be a parlay piece at minus 300. And obviously the Spivak TKO at plus 600 or plus 160, sorry about that. Or if you want to make it a little bit more interesting, there was one bet down here It's always down here. It's a fight ends by KO TKO. Minus 190 on either fighter wins by KO TKO. That seems like a bet to me. Minus 190 on FanDuel. That would be it. So the minus 190, either fighter wins by KO TKO. The under 3.5 or the does not start round number 4. Those are the bets to make in the betting breakdown for UFC Fight Night Lewis versus Spivak. Just a little bit of a parlay just for funsies right here. A long shot parlay to give to y'all for this UFC pay-per-view. I'm just kidding. It's the UFC Fight Night. We're going to go Sergey Spivak. We're going to go Waldo Cortez Acosta. Kennedy Nzechukwu. Jack Della Maddalena. Charles Johnson. Ricky Tercios. And that is going to be about it. For plus 1,000 odds, you get a crazy plus money parlay right there. I have all of them winning. I feel decently about all of those guys. Just a fun parlay to do right there. Sprinkle a few dollars on. But that is the betting breakdown for UFC Fight Night. Lewis versus Spivak. Thank you guys for watching. Like and subscribe. And we'll see you in the next one. UFC Fight Night. Lewis versus Spivak. Most confident picks to least confident picks. We got 13 fights on the card. I'm going to give you my percentage chance out of 100%, 50% being this a 50-50 fight, 60% meaning it's a slight lean, 70% it's almost a confident pick. Anything above that's going to be a confident, and 90% is going to be a super confident pick for UFC Fight Night Lewis versus Spivak. I'm going to start from the bottom of the card with Natalia Silva and Teresa Plata. Go all the way to the top, giving you my percentage chance that I think every single fighter will win. My predictions are the one in bold, so Natalia Silva, Brady Hiestand, Maria Oliveira, Ricky Tercios, Miles John, Jennifer Maia, Charles Johnson, Jack Della Maddalena, Rodolfo Vieira, Andre Fialho, Waldo Cortez Acosta, Kennedy Nzechukwu, and Sergey Spivak. We're going to start from the bottom with Natalia Silva. We're going to have her at a solid 59%. The reason we're going to have her as a slight lean, not a confident pick or anything. This is most confident picks to least confident picks. The reason we're going to have Natalia Silva is not a confident pick, not a super confident pick, not even an almost confident pick, but only 59% as a slight lean. It's because Teresa Plata, even though she is only 20 years old, she's undefeated as a pro. She's undefeated as an amateur. She's very good on the ground, really good wrestler, really good grappler, and could be able to grind out a very close decision. I do lean Natalia Silva to win, but Teresa is a very live dog, so 59% for Natalia Silva. Brady Hiestand is going to be a bit below that one. Definitely not a confident pick, given the damage that he took against Ricky Tercios in his last fight. We're going to have him at 55%. I do believe he's going to be able to land the takedowns, control the fight on the ground in those later rounds and win, but Fernie's very good striker and could very well, if he has good takedown defense here against Brady Hiestand, he could be easily win a decision, so only 55%. Maria Oliveira, she's going to be a little bit more, just a little bit more than Brady Hiestand here at 57.5%. I do believe she's a little bit more confident than Brady Hiestand, but a little bit less confident than Natalia Silva because she does tend to get taken down a lot in her professional MMA fights, and the pressure, if you can put pressure on Maria Oliveira, you can definitely break a girl like Maria Oliveira. So far, no confident picks on this UFC Fight Night so far. Ricky Tercios, this is going to be an almost confident pick right here. Almost confident picks are starting off with is going to be Ricky Tercios at a 66%. I do believe 2 out of 3 times that Ricky Tercios should be able to win this fight. Throws more volume, he got the better wrestling, he's going to be the better striker, better volume, more pressure, more cardio and things like that. He's got the better chin. I think he should definitely go out there and win this fight. Not a confident pick just yet because of his last performance with Ayman Zahabi, but so far, Ricky Tercios is our most confident pick. Miles Johns and Vince Morales is going to be very, very low on this list. right here at 54%. Not very high. And Miles Johns is coming in on short notice. He does hit harder than Vince Morales. He does have the better wrestling than Vince Morales. But Vince is very live to just go out there and outstrike Miles Johns at range. Use the strike and the volume, the combinations at range to beat Miles Johns in a very close decision. So it's a close one in the bantamweight division. I do lean Miles Johns, but definitely not a confident pick. We had the wrong one right here. I do not have Jennifer Maia winning. I do have Marina Moroz winning that fight, but it is a super, super close one. Also going to be pretty low on this list at only a 51%. So far, our least confident fight on the card. Only reason being is because of how even it is everywhere. Striking, I do believe, is going to be very even. Jiu-Jitsu, I think, is going to be in Jennifer Maia's favor. And wrestling, I think, is going to be in Marina Moroz's favor. So it's a 50-50 fight, in my opinion, with a very, very slight lean for Marina Moroz. Zhalgus Zhumagulov is going to be right in the almost confident picks category at 69%. Better grappler, taller, lengthier, more volume on the feet, better strike, and more power than Zhalgus Zhumagulov. Charles Johnson should get that victory. Jack Della Maddalena is going to be right here, and we're going to have Jack Della Maddalena as a super confident pick, of course. Super confident pick inside of the UFC. Jack Della Maddalena is going to be, let's go 85%. I'm feeling very, very good on Jack Della Maddalena to go out there and easily win on Danny Roberts, land the harder shots, land the bigger shots, and TKO Danny Roberts in that fight. I'm feeling very, very good. Rodolfo Vieira next is going to be a slight lean right around Vince Morales' range, just a little bit lower at 53%. Just like the Marina Moroz fight, Rodolfo is the better jiu-jitsu guy. Cody Brundage is the better wrestler, and the striking barely goes Rodolfo Vieira in what is going to be a very close fight. So Rodolfo is going to be very low on that list. Andre Fialho and Muslim Salikov. I lied. If I said Marina Moroz was going to be my least confident, I lied. 50.5%. Let's actually have them even. Let's have them both at 51%. Andre Fialho, dude, if you know an Andre Fialho fight, you're going to be sweating if you're betting on Andre Fialho. Getting knocked out in his most recent fight with Jake Matthews, getting rocked against Cameron Van Camp, got outstruck by Michel Pereira, did beat Miguel Baeza, which was a very good win, but he's fighting Muslim Salikov, who's been doing very, very good. A lot of good TKO wins, beating Elizu Zaleski and Francisco Trinaldo, so should be a very, very 50-50 fight, which is why, well, I have it at 51%. Waldo Cortez Acosta and Chase Sherman. The one also is going to be an almost confident pick. Waldo Cortez Acosta at 67%, just a little bit more than Chase Sherman right there. Kennedy Nzechukwu is also going to be an almost confident pick. Actually, yeah, we'll have him as an almost confident pick. Ricky Tercios. Move Waldo to 68 right there. To 68. We're going to move Ricky Tercios to 64. And we're going to have right here with Kennedy Nzechukwu at 66%. A lot of movement right there, but I'm going to have Kennedy as a 2-1 favorite. And last but not least, we got Sergey Spivak taking on Derek Lewis. Not going to be a confident pick, not going to be an almost confident pick or a super confident pick, but it's going to be right there with Natalia Silva at 59.99999% as a very, very slight lean, like an almost confident pick right there. He could be right there to almost confident pick, right there to super confident, confidence and things like that, but he's just going to be a slight lean right there. And if you're wondering where all of our confident picks are, we don't have any. We have no confident picks. And if you're wondering where the confident picks range is, that is from 70% to 79 well, 9999999%. And we have nobody in that little range right there. for this fight card. So that's all we got. Super confident Jack Della Maddalena at 85%. Confident picks, we got none of them right there. Almost confident picks, we got Charles Johnson at 69%. Waldo Cortez Acosta at 68%. Kennedy Nzechukwu at 66%. Ricky Tertios at 64%. Sergey Spivak almost at 60%. Natalia Silva 59%. Maria Oliveira 57.5%. Brady Heastand 55%. Miles Johns at 54%. Rodolfo Vieira at 53%. Marina Moroz at 51%. And Andre Fialio at 51%. Those are most confident picks to least confident picks. These are the 5 right here that I am most confident in at UFC Fight Night Lewis versus Spivak. If we were to do a parlay, sometimes people do this like every single week. All of my confident picks, all of my almost confident picks, and of course all of my super confident picks. A lot of people like to go out there and just see what the odds would be if you were to parlay every single one of those guys right there. So if we were to parlay every single one of them inside of the UFC, these are the odds that we would get for all of those guys. We would get plus 700 for Waldo, Kennedy, Jack Della, Charles Johnson, and Ricky Tertios. Bet how you must, bet how you please. Make sure to like and subscribe. Comment your confident picks down below. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.